y'all, it's Ilana and welcome back to my channel. So for this week's video, I am going to be talking about what it's like to move back to your toxic hometown and why I think my hometown is toxic. I'm just a millennial, just trying to navigate dating and life and just figuring it out. So if you feel like you can relate to that, subscribe to my channel as I post new videos every Monday and sometimes on Fridays. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So I do apologize if this video does come across a bit negative because I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of supposed to be a negative video, but I know it's something that people can really relate to. As you already know, I am currently from Richmond, Virginia. That is my hometown and that is where I am currently located temporary. And I just want to say that if you live in Richmond and you're watching this video and you absolutely love Richmond and it's everything to you, that's great. I'm glad that you're able to find happiness in this city. These are just my thoughts and opinions. They are not facts. This is just how I perceive Richmond, and if you like Richmond a lot, then maybe you should just click off of this video and not watch further. But this is just my honest truth and how I feel about it. So please don't try to tell me otherwise and tell me that I need to change my opinions of Richmond or to just try to convince me that Richmond's actually not a bad place, because you're not gonna change my opinion. All right. Let's get into the first thing. When you move back to a toxic hometown, you're probably not going to like the people. I think that's one reason as to why people hate moving back to where they're from, because there's a lot of resentment for those who you grew up with. I can personally tell you that I hate a good chunk of the people that are currently still residing in Richmond, other than the two friends that I have here. When I was growing up, I was bullied a ton, mostly from middle school and high school, and going to college was just so nice because I got to start my life over. Nobody knew anything about me, and they're able to form their own opinion about me without their friends and their peers pressuring them on how they are supposed to think and feel about me. I didn't have a friend group growing up in middle school and high school. Like I said, I didn't really have a lot of friends at the schools that I went to. Most of my friends went to other schools, so people would always call me a friendless loser. They would tell me that I'm ugly, and people would make fun of how much acne I had on my face at the time, and that made me really insecure. Yeah, I went to school with really terrible people, and I don't believe people change. I think they might mature a little bit, but I don't think that they change. I literally had one of my bullies try to apologize to me, and it was a horrible apology because they were only doing it to make themselves feel better about themselves. It just wasn't a sincere apology, and I just didn't even forgive them. It was so obviously insincere. I just don't have time for fake people in my life. I don't. I think people have always had an issue with me being very outspoken, me being true to myself, and not being afraid to just speak up. A lot of people didn't like that about me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Virginia still don't really like that about me. They believe that I need to be more modest and more soft and just a bunch of other stupid qualities that don't define who I am. Like, that is just not me. I'm not comfortable being soft. I'm not comfortable staying quiet. That's not who I am. If something bothers me, I'm going to speak up about it. Or if I'm just being me and I want to live my life the way that I want to, I'm gonna do it. Do not try to tell me how I'm supposed to think, act, and feel. And that's been really toxic. And you know, they say people who are going to bully you and make fun of you are truly insecure. No happy, confident person is going to make fun of others, is going to be fake to other people, and to have huge issues with how others live their life. I mean, people are always entitled to their opinions, of course, but I know for a fact that I think that these people were either emotionally insecure, they could have potentially been jealous of me. What were they jealous of? I don't particularly know. Maybe it's because I was very outspoken and they wish they were too, or the fact that I have a lot of confidence and they don't. I don't know. I could tell their opinions about me was honestly a reflection on them. I was very kind to people growing up, and I didn't get that kindness returned to me. Instead, I just got bullied. I was called annoying. I have a lot of resentment for people, just like you probably do. I am curious to know if you have been feeling this way about your hometown, if the people and maybe potentially being bullied in the past is a reason that you probably feel like you don't fit in with your hometown. But I just know for the fact that, especially with the people in Richmond, I just think they personally suck. They're still here, and it makes me really uncomfortable being in the same city as them. So another thing, just going back to people, is knowing that you can see the fakeness in people and how judgy people in your hometown are. I know when I go out in town with my camera set up on a tripod, people get very judgmental about it and they think I'm being really weird when I'm just taking pictures of myself out in public. That was just so normal in San Francisco. People didn't care. And if people were concerned with what I was doing, I would look at them and just be like, can I help you? And I would still do that to other people here in Richmond because it's like, mind your own business. I'm taking pictures for content. I just don't like that I'm in a kind of environment where people are very judgmental, people are extremely fake, like I mentioned, and all the people that I went to middle school and high school with, okay, well, most of them are still here. And I think the reason that they're still here is because they're afraid to get out of their comfort zone. While they could potentially be that happy here, I think a real reason that they don't want to move is because that all of their friends are here, which I understand. But the thing is, like, they don't branch out. They don't grow and make new friends. And it's not to say that they haven't made new friends, but they're just still constantly always hanging out with the same people. I just feel like these people haven't grown, and not that it's any of my concern, but it just like makes me cringe just a little bit. But you know what? They can do them. It's fine. I don't know. I just feel like staying in your hometown for the rest of your life doesn't really help you grow as a person. And I'm sure many people will disagree with me on that, but I felt that moving away from my hometown really helped me grow significantly. And if you left your hometown or you didn't leave your hometown, let me know down below whether you think that you've grown more as a person or you feel like you're still the same. I'm just curious to know. Again, these are my thoughts and opinions. They're not facts. Let's move on to the third thing. When you move back to your hometown, especially for me, you're probably going to think that your hometown is incredibly boring. And I think Richmond is boring AF. Oh my god, I feel like the only things to do in Richmond are to go to breweries, out to get food, and maybe go to the river when it's warm outside. Oh, and go to the museums out in the museum district. But other than that, I just feel like there's really not that much to do in Richmond. I think there's probably a little bit more to do in the summer. During the summer, there was one thing that I liked doing, was going to the Innsbruck concerts. They were mostly country concerts. They were relatively inexpensive. That's always fun. But again, I just feel like doing the same stuff over and over again, concerts, museums, breweries, food, that stuff gets really, really old. And I just want to know if people even get sick and tired of doing the same thing. When I was living in San Francisco, yes, I did all of that, but I would do other things. There was just so much more to do out in San Francisco. I was never bored. There was always something new and unique that was going on. I loved that I was always staying busy and that I didn't find where I was living to be really boring and dry. I don't know about you, but when you go back to your hometown, do you feel like it's really hard to connect with other people? Because I think so. A lot of people here in Richmond are married, they're engaged, they're in a relationship where they're about to be engaged, or they have children. You get it. They're not single, long story short. And it makes it really hard for you to relate to them. And with Richmond, I feel like everyone here is either younger than me or older than me. I just want to know, where are the single young 20-somethings? I don't think they exist. I think the only place they exist is downtown at VCU's campus. I just feel like Richmond's not a good place for single young professionals at all. People seem to already be established here and they don't want any new kind of change. And I feel that other people who have to go back to their hometowns feel the same way. And it's difficult when you want to hang out with your only select group of friends, and by select group of friends, meaning your only friends that you have in your hometown. Like I said, I only have 2 here, and both of them are in relationships. One is married with a baby, and that makes it a little bit harder to hang out with her. So basically now when I want to hang out with her, I have to go to her house and hang out with her and her baby, which is fine. I love babies. I want one of my own one day. But it's not like old times where I can go out to bars or do whatever I want because she can freely do it. Now she can't. She's a mom. She has a whole new life that she needs to attend to. And that can make it more difficult. That can be really challenging. And I know for a fact that I absolutely don't want to be dating here because there's no point for me to date here because the single people don't really exist unless if you go on the dating apps. And again, I'm trying to leave this place as soon as I can. Dating in the South is a huge challenge because there's just so much pressure to get married and have babies. And sometimes I feel like people who were in their 20s yet early 30s kind of get shamed for being single, and people kind of want to act like there's something wrong with you because you're not in a relationship. And I'm really uncomfortable with that. That's one reason as to why I left this place, was because I wanted to go to a new city and date people where I knew there was other like-minded single adults just like me. And that's what I loved about San Francisco. I had all those opportunities. Even though they weren't the best opportunities, at least I had them. I just am uncomfortable with just not being around people who were just like me. It sucks. So if there's one thing that I hate about my hometown, and I feel like this is another reason to why people hate their hometowns, is that it's not a good place to start your career. Richmond is terrible to start your career in your 20s. I can't find any tech recruiting jobs here unless if they're at some crappy staffing agency, which I don't want to work at. Yes, Richmond does have a Facebook office, but they're not hiring recruiters right now. And to be fair, even if they were, I still wouldn't apply because I don't want to live here. A lot of the companies in Richmond are very old-fashioned. They're traditional corporate offices where you still have to dress up in like suit and ties and blazers and skirts. That's just so unideal for me. I want to work in an environment where it's more casual. I feel like there aren't really a lot of opportunities here, and a lot of the technologies that these companies are using are very old and outdated. I want to be working at a company that does something really cool and does something that really excites me. But just working at these accounting firms and marketing firms, which is basically what most of I feel like the jobs are here in Richmond, that's all they are. And I have no interest in working for some accounting firm or business firm. Boring, boring, boring. I mean, it's the capital of the Confederacy. Yes, we can't change the past, and I know Richmond has a very dark history, but it's the capital of racism and slavery. Need I say any more? Basically, that's my summary in a nutshell of why I think Richmond is toxic, why I don't like my hometown, and I also think that these are some reasons as to why people hate their hometowns too. I mean, of course, some things I said were a little bit different than others, like not everyone's hometown is the capital of the Confederacy, obviously, that's just one example, but I know that's how a lot of people feel when they move back to their hometown. If you feel like you can relate to this, comment down below, let me know what it's been like having to go back to your hometown or why you left your hometown. I would love to know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!